Alright everyone, welcome back to Genshin Impact. We are now on version 6.6, or Luna 7 as they call it now, and we are not going to be covering the chess boss as, well, we already made a guide on that, but rather we're going to be turning our attention to the newest weekly boss, the Binding Field of Universal Nirvana, which is just a fancy term for Dottore Part 2, because, well, Part 1 was the False Moon Institute. Before anything else, if you were wondering if Nicole had her own overworld boss, she does not. She shares the same materials as Ziban, which is from the Whisper of Nightmares, or the Zappy Lizard up north in Notcry, on the island with the scary eye on it. You know the one, can't miss it. If you need a guide on that, I got you right now, top right corner. But returning to the guide at hand though, Dottore Part 2 is a pretty decent step up in terms of difficulty compared to Part 1, but that's not really saying much, not gonna lie. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say False Moon Institute is like a 2 or 3 at most, considering how much the fight was free. But Universal Nirvana is more like a 5 or 6, perhaps even a 7, because you directly have to confront the boss and deal with potential ambush attacks or running the risk of getting one-hit KO'd, which is more likely this time around compared to Part 1. However, for like 90% of the boss fight though, his moves are very clearly telegraphed, and the game is pretty generous with the iframes when dodging, so with some practice, you should be able to fight this boss with little to no issues. In terms of the boss guide itself though, a disclaimer, first and foremost, I'm fighting this boss at level 60. Keep in mind, there is no difference in terms of movesets or how the boss behaves between any of the difficulties. It will just have substantially more HP and deal substantially more damage to you if you get hit. Frankly, I'd like to respect both my viewers' time alongside maintain my own sanity, so I'm going to be keeping the fight at level 60 and making explaining the boss fight the biggest priority, like it's always been. I don't need a 20 gigabyte video recording of me dodging the same attacks over and over, and you don't need an hour-long video of me saying the same things on repeat. For the party, we're going to be bringing Lynette with 2 N's, my wife Amber, a good friend Kale, and the best Chinese chef around, Shangling. Amber and Kale are here for the boss mechanics more than anything, so the main star of the show is going to be Traveler and Shangling. She's also going to be here for a pyro backup because she does fulfill the requirement for double pyro as well. For Geo Traveler, she's using the Sword of Narcissenkoitz in honor of Sandrone, and Noblesse Oblige for the 4-piece set. For Amber, don't worry, she may be level 100, but she is equipped purely for support, so she's using a Favonius Warbow and a Noblesse Oblige set as well. For Kale, she is also going to be using a Favonius Warbow and also on the Deepwood Memory set. And last but not least, for Shangling, as per usual, she is using the Katane Crossspear and 4-piece Emblem of Severed Fate, like she's been for the last, half decade. Keep in mind though, you may want to bring people that may either do a lot of instances of damage at once, like Amber and her Burst, or someone who can hit really fast, like Zhongli and his normals, because the second phase will require instances of damage to save you from a one-hit KO, which I will elaborate on later. Other than that though, let's begin. Alright, so when you first load into the boss fight, I would suggest eating your mandatory apple because, well, you know. But also, when you first begin the fight, make sure to switch to an archer or a long-range unit, at least in my opinion, because the boss will always start the exact same way with him throwing this massive firewall at you, and you can start it by shooting him in the face. And you can just dash to the side here. And from here, here's something that you shouldn't do, which is keep away from him, because quite frankly, it's going to be useless. He will always find a way to you, whether it be by teleportation or just managing to find some attack to launch at you, and he actually will jump scare you if you run away. Watch this. Considering he doesn't handle rejection very well, and his attitude to the Traveler, yeah, you should definitely keep close to him and beat him at his own game. Because if you continue to do this, he'll just launch even more attacks at you, and some of them are really annoying, like a really quick ice slash that he'll do very rarely, but it'll always come by when you least expect it. And he will also potentially fire the firewall at you again. So instead of doing all that, we're just gonna go over to him like he wants and just straight up start beating his ass. And with this one, literally it becomes an easier fight when you actually face him head on, because he basically does the same type of move all the time, which is he'll throw 2 attacks at you like this, or one big move like this ground pound. And I can do that too, by the way, Doctor. Get the fuck out of here. So he'll always follow up one attack with another until you lower his HP to like 70%. Then you can see that he's doing like triple attacks, which kind of switches up the battlefield a little bit, but not a lot, because majority of them can be easily dodged, and for the most part isn't really anything you need to worry about. And he will have some specialty moves like an ice wall or something, but for the most part, like 80 to 90% of his attacks, if you're stuck in phase 1 for a long time, is just these very easily dodgeable attacks that you've been seeing me dodge for like the last 2 minutes. And also right here. And 3. And just kind of slap him on the ass every time, give him a little pat on the back, say, good job, man, I hope you can do it next time. But in terms of that attack, that's the one attack that you should look out for, because it is really, really annoying, because you can almost never react to it in time, and I think I've been hit by it more times than not. And sometimes when he gets really mad, he'll do like this ice wall attack and then follow it up with an AoE attack. It doesn't really do much though, because it just makes him look like a big baby. And frankly speaking, it's pretty easy to dodge as well. You can either run backward out of the range or just dash through the walls, because iframes are your friend in this game, and you definitely should learn how to dodge if you haven't already. And the one last thing that he hasn't done to me yet is that there's like this odd sort of like triple ring icicle kind of move, and I'll skip forward to that right now. That's quite literally all there is to the fight though. Alright, so now on to phase 2, and hilariously, he doesn't actually take any damage here, so you can just keep shooting him all you want. But the actual majority of the fight happens behind us near this blue structure, because that's where Dottore will usually be. And when the fight begins, he'll sit over there and throw data streams at you if you get too close to him. But you can easily avoid this and basically circumvent all 3 attacks by just kind of going left and not caring what he has to say about you, and then just going up near the arena walls to go behind him instead. And I'm going to dash at the very end here to potentially miss any of the damage, which is good. And right here, I'm going to pause right now. And the reason why is because it's a lot to take in. So I'm going to break this down. First, destroy a side node to break the barrier. What I'm aiming at is a side node, and it survives 3 instances of any kind of damage. It can be 3 sword hits, it can be 3 of Amber's arrows, it can be like Farina hitting it with her little summons. It doesn't matter. 3 hits is all it needs to go down. And you need to make sure that you do this, otherwise, if you take too long, there's going to be a barrier that pushes you all the way to the back of the arena, making it impossible for you to basically do any damage to a gauge that's very important, coming up right now. So give me 1 second. 1, 2, and 3. This node is down. And over here now, you can see underneath his health bar, there's like this strange little circular gauge with like an electric symbol in it. That is the gauge you need to deplete, because if you don't do that, well, here's the one-hit KO move that I was talking about.
Oh, that's the queen.
Yeah, so you might not want that to happen. So in order to deplete this meter, you have to do instances of damage, whether it be a single arrow or perhaps a burning reaction, which is exactly what we're doing here. I'm going to fire a Dendro arrow out of Kale's bow, and then swap to Amber, and then start a burning reaction, get a head start. He will then launch 2 chess piece attacks at you, which is the King roll and also the Queen massive blade attack. And I'll teach you how to dodge that a little bit. But you can see that I immediately downed him, and this gives us like a 10-second-ish DPS phase, which is really nice. And you gotta rinse and repeat, because he'll have 4 moves that he'll potentially do after this. The first move is always going to be this red square explosion thing, which is really easy to dodge, and I would suggest getting to this little square in the middle of the arena here. And the reason why is because almost all the time, his second move will be this line grid laser thing. Although I fucked that up and I actually clipped my toe on it, which is hilarious. But after that, he'll either do this Hitotachi move, which is basically copying Raiden's boss fight move, or He swings his arm out and summons forth a pyro and then cryo wave alongside a massive barrage of projectiles that will home towards you. If you are caught out in the middle of the arena, they mostly all hit you, which is very, very annoying. Those are the only 4 attacks he's got outside the DPS phase though, and the chess piece move is just the king rolling towards you, and the queen, after a brief flash, will come charging towards you. Do note it's a bit different compared to the regular chess fight, where instead of doing nothing, it'll actually come homing towards you at a considerable distance, so you might want to watch your feet. But other than that, that's quite literally all there is to the Doctor Part 2. And unfortunately, I fell asleep while making this guide, so it's going to be coming out a little bit later compared to Sunways, which I'm pretty sure has already reached many numbers by now. But I'm going to dance on Dottore's grave right now because he's been a very annoying person to document. Not because his boss fight is hard or anything, but it's just taking unnecessary damage and making me kind of question whether or not my internet was on the fritz. To recap though, basically for phase 1, violate his personal space and you'll enjoy it, and for phase 2, all you gotta do is either bring someone that hits really really fast, or a party setup that'll do a lot of instances of damage over a short period of time. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope this was of use to you, and good luck on your Nicole pulls if you are pulling for her, and enjoy the new quest. I will be streaming later. Here we go, finally fucking...
让我也再自我介绍一次。这次没有爱丽丝的自我介绍魔法捣乱了。我是妮可，如你所见，只是……哎呀，怎么又弹出来了？